Good morning, London Tech Week. It's great to be with you. My name is Stephan. I'm a partner in startup Genome, and I came to this wonderful city in 2005 as an expat, as so many of us do, to start our businesses, more even so to scale our businesses. And how far have we come in this great city when we look at tech? At Startup Genome, we were founded as a research company. Today we are a policy advisory firm and still a research company, founded by serial entrepreneurs in the Valley who noticed about 10 years ago that tech created a lot of wealth, incredible employment opportunities, but also that tech was incredibly concentrated. The top 10 ecosystems just 10 years ago absorbed 93% of all the value created in tech. Today, we are down to 63% with so many more cities participating. And that's our mission, to bring knowledge, to bring research, to bring insight to as many places in the world as possible, so that all founders, regardless of location, can participate in the tech, in the very opportunity that our tech ecosystems do bring. We operate a global network of cities, of ecosystems, of policymakers, of ecosystem leaders to better connect and build this fabric of global connectedness that's so important for our scale-up founders, to connect to other like-minded individuals, to get mentorship, to get advice, and to have the opportunity to build market relationships and to scale. Enough of us. I want to give you a very sneak preview of our GSER, Global Startup Ecosystem Report, that we are putting together every year since about 5-6 years' time, ranking more than 300 ecosystems around the world. And first of all, I would like to say a big thank you to all the entrepreneurs who have taken our survey, over 50,000 to date all across the world, all the accelerators, workspaces, incubators, others who have participated in this body of research that allows us to depict the state of the global startup ecosystem every year and to share a few of the insights that we have. Key findings for London: ecosystem value, 364 billion in the reporting period. That's 2.5 years. We always pack together a little bit of a longer timeline, so we have constant data that are really up for interpretation. When we look at the UK overall, and that neatly ties into what I said in the beginning, many more cities participating. The UK overall, with its 10, 14 tech hubs all across the country, today has an ecosystem value in our research of more than $1 trillion. And that's a very, very elite club. The UK joins China, it joins the US as the only 3 locations in the world with an ecosystem value of that size and magnitude. And I think that's something to celebrate, and evidence of what has happened in London, but also what has happened in the rest of the country. 102 billion invested in VC funding in the last 2.5 years. And I'll show a little bit where we are today, because we will see it's a tale of 2 stories where we are in terms of funding. London has the most companies valued over $1 billion in the region being Europe, far ahead of any other city all across Europe. We've seen growth in large exits. We define those as exits over 50 million, over 100 million as a yardstick. We are far ahead of any other location, and this dynamic is increasing, and I think that's an important message also to keep. It signifies the ability of London to scale companies. So many of us come to the city with an idea, with a concept, with a startup, only then to embark on their scaling journey. I've seen that firsthand in many years of working with Tech City and others here in the ecosystem, and that's great to see in our data as well. Lots of data points which you can find on our website. I don't think that's the main point. The main point is London remains the number 2 ecosystem in the world in our rankings, including this year. We had the positive news to tell last year as well, tied with New York. So Silicon Valley, London, and New York are the top echelon of ecosystems. That's unchanged. But when we unpick all these detailed data, I think we see London even pulling away a little bit in some of the sub-factors that constitute our ranking, and there might be some change in the future to come. For now, tied with New York, that's the ranking, and the overall ranking we will reveal to the end of the week. Please have a look at it if you can and if you want to. Looking at our detailed factors, what particularly stands out for London as an open city, as a city that's so connected to the world, is a factor we call global connectedness, the ability of founders to call somebody in another ecosystem, another market, founder to investor, and to get a market introduction, some help, some mentorship for free, half an hour. We measure this global fabric, and London stands out jointly with Silicon Valley, #1 in the world, in terms of global connectedness, the ability to connect our businesses to other markets. And that's outstanding. I think the audience here speaks for itself, being so diverse and being from all over Europe and further abroad. So much for the great and the good news for London. We also wanted to give you a very brief preview on more global data points that we can see. Global economic downturn is clear in the numbers that we are tracking. You can see here the exits over 50 million that we are tracking, lowest level compared to, or on par with what we saw during the beginning of the pandemic. So clearly the recession, or the correction as we like to call it internally, certainly has hit. That's where we are. So exits down, no surprises here. We see funding deal amounts. We see in Q4 to the end of 2022, the lowest quarter in the previous 4 years. So undoubtedly, reality has hit. It's not arguing it away and sugarcoating it. The data speaks for itself, as you will have heard in many other presentations as well. Declining number of unicorns. I was celebrating last year on a similar stage the enormous amounts of unicorns created in so many places. Over 100 ecosystems in the world had at least one unicorn. Today, we are down to 12 in the last reporting quarter, Q1 2023. 12 new unicorns created. The net might be negative with some of the unicorns dehorned in valuations. So that's really where we are. Funding, in terms of stages, shows a very different picture. Late stage funding, the mega rounds are gone, for now at least. Early stage funding, that's the blue line here, is also affected. It is getting harder to get new capital, to get pre-seed, seed stage funding, but it is not as affected as late stage funding. So for those amongst us who are building their business right now, there is still capital in the market. There's the ability to get to it with a competitive business model. Not everything has dried up, and that's very clearly evidenced in the numbers. Positively also, we went back a little bit and said, what happened in this terrible financial crisis, 2009-10? When you found in a recession, what happens then? Is this a period where you can found a business, where you can get to Series A? And we tracked the exit amounts and the ratio of exit amount versus Series A funding. And what you can see here, the blip up there, that's during and post financial crisis. So results are very comparable to normal periods. So founding and growing a business, even in a recession, in tech is absolutely possible, and the exit values in the end are very, very similar. Don't fear to be negatively affected. Tech is a long-term game. It's not a game that's determined by NASDAQ stock pricing. That's very clear. Global subsector lifecycle. 1 or 2 highlights we wanted to mention to you. We are showing here as exits on the horizontal axis. These are the mature companies exiting into the market. On the y-axis, we show the dynamic of new businesses coming in, Series A funding as a yardstick. And the matrix overall tells us, when you're on the upper right-hand side, lots of exits, but also lots of new dynamic, new companies being founded. Where's the dynamic at the moment? Advanced manufacturing, robotics, the drive to productivity gains continues all over the world. Great sector to be in. IoT, Industry 4.0, or as we call it, AMR. AI, big data, no surprises here. And generative AI will only push, of course, that chart further up. That's the big bubble, AI and big data shown there. What particularly pleases me, pleases us as a company, is to see how far we have come in clean tech, using technology to help innovate ourselves out of the climate crisis, or at least helping to do so. Clean tech firmly established. We see the exits. We also see the dynamic all over the world going into clean tech, new clean tech ventures here shown in terms of Series A funding. So for us, great news. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And also in AgTech, that's one of the little yellow dots which you may or may not see so well. AgTech and new food showing increasingly good signs of life. Again, one of these sectors that are so important for us as society and mankind overall, where tech can make such a marked impact. So these are the big sector trends globally that we wanted to share with you very, very briefly. Many of us come to the city not only to start a business, but to scale. Many of us come from abroad with a company that is ready to scale using the global connectivity, the great fabric that London provides in order to really conquer global markets and access the late-stage funding, of course, that's so prevalent here. We are doing at the moment a scale-up study trying to unlock the DNA of scale-up success, and I just wanted to show 1 or 2 data points with you before the study comes out later in the year. What really are decisive factors on a scale-up journey? Overall global scale-up rate, if you bear with me, on this ladder on the left-hand side is 3.8%. 100 startups founded, 3.8 make it to scaling, scaling defined as being 100 million plus valuation. For those entrepreneurs who manage to have senior advisors on their board, and they reward them and bind them to their company with equity or sharing some of the equity to their best mentors sitting on their very boards, they increase the chances from 3.8% to 5.6%. Marked difference, maybe the most important factor here, to get the mentorship in from experienced entrepreneurs, from investors sitting on the board that have the experience of scaling a business internationally. We are going up to 7% if we are well connected. I mentioned global connectedness overall as one of the strengths of the city. For those founders who are connected to more than 4 founders in different top ecosystems, top markets in the world, they tap the knowledge, the very fabric of tech and business development, business model development. And the scale-up rate goes up to 7%. We are nearly doubling here. For those who've already managed to sell to out-of-continent customers, more than 20% of their revenue, the scale-up rate, this chance of success, goes up to a staggering 10.4%. So in summary, I can improve my chances of scale-up success with very simple measures. Have the right advisors, have the right connections to international markets, and London is a fantastic place to build those, and really start on the journey of selling abroad and developing out of continent markets, going out of the domestic market. 25x is the lever that we have for scaling our companies. Have a look here. The details will come out later in the year, where we go deep into the DNA of scale-up success, and hopefully we'll be unlocking more that will help many of us scale their companies. Global Startup Ecosystem Report, GSER, will be launching in 2 days. Please visit our websites. Lots of details, including for London, for the other clusters in the UK and all around the world, including with a really nice benchmarking tool where you can compare the different ecosystems to different cities, see their strengths and weaknesses as you are thinking about expanding into another market. Use the tool if you want to, and the insights we can provide. With that said, thank you very much for your attention this morning. We are glad to be back at London Tech Week. Have a wonderful conference, and we shall see you hopefully next year with even better data. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, London.